Hi everybody, Mike here with Lollar Pickups. In this video, we're going to be diving into a comparison of some of our different humbucking pickups. Since Jason Lollar first started taking apart and reverse engineering vintage PAFs in order to find the right recipes for building our Imperials, we've developed many other humbuckers. Some are vintage inspired, and others are of our own design entirely. So, stick around to hear about how they all compare, contrast, and complement one another. At its most fundamental level, a humbucking pickup is one that uses two coils wound with the opposite coil direction and magnetic polarity in order to buck the hum that you hear in single coil designs like Strat, Tele, or P90 pickups. These reverse wound, reverse polarity coils are then wired together in series for a sound that's fuller and higher output than a typical single coil pickup, with the benefit of removing the common 60-cycle hum inherent to true single coil designs. Humbuckers are responsible for many of the most classic and sought-after tones in guitar history. The most famous among them is no doubt the patent applied for, or PAF design, created by Seth Lover for Gibson in the mid-1950s. One of the most foundational electric guitar pickups, it is the inspiration for our Imperial and countless others. It serves as a good jumping off point for humbuckers in general, so let's take a deeper look at the humbucking pickups we build. The Lollar Imperial is our bread and butter humbucker, and it's a go-to for vintage 1950s PAF sounds. Jason Lollar got his start by repairing vintage examples, and over the course of countless repairs and restorations, he came up with the three versions that we build today. These three versions, the low wind, standard wind, and high wind, represent different sorts of PAF voicings. Consistency of manufacturing was not the name of the game in the mid-1950s, and due to variation in build, material, and turn count, many vintage PAFs sound quite different from one another. Now we'll cover the Imperial and its versions in greater detail in another video, but generally speaking, the low wind is brighter and snappier, the standard is a bit creamier and warmer, and the high wind is darker, hotter, and more compressed. In today's video, we'll be using the standard winds in both the neck and bridge positions to demonstrate our baseline PAF-style humbucker set. The raw power is based on a specific set of Gibson's T-top pickups, so named for the T-shape stamped into the bobbin. Next to PAFs, T-tops are among the most beloved of vintage Gibson humbuckers, dating to the later 1960s. The specific set in question came from the infamous Les Paul that garage punk shred pioneer James Williamson used to record the Raw Power album with Iggy and the Stooges. James contacted Jason to build replica versions of his guitar's original pickups so he'd be able to have consistent tone in his other guitars while touring. Everyone was very happy with the design, so it became a stock offering. Compared to PAFs, T-tops are a bit more rowdy and brash and slightly hotter. They have a bit more top-end bite and cut as well. Though it may look superficially like an ordinary PAF-style humbucker, our Rayo is anything but. It's a unique modern design that doesn't have a specific vintage precedent, and it represented a foray into looking for designs that would appeal to players who were looking for a humbucker that wasn't specifically PAF inspired. Compared with a PAF style pickup, Rayo is very articulate and crisp, with minimal compression and a wide dynamic range. Its output is comparable to an Imperial, though due to its more present top end, it can be perceived as hotter as it cuts through a mix very well. It's a great choice for players who rely on dynamics and expressive picking hand technique, or players with higher gain signals who still want clarity and articulation to come through in a mix. And since we mentioned how Rayo's output is similar to an Imperial, if you've been looking at the specs and were curious about its lower DCR average, this is a great chance to point out how misleading those values can be. Since Rayo uses different build materials than an Imperial, its DCR is much lower, but remember, DCR is not an objective measure of output. Our Eldorado humbucker is something of a chameleon, tracing its origin to a custom mandolin humbucker we built for one of our OEM clients. We applied the same idea to a 6-string guitar pickup and found great results with a versatile pickup that was equally well suited to humbucking or split coil operation. Eldorado is built essentially like two Strat pickups. Rather than a bar magnet, it uses two coils with Strat-style slug magnets for a brighter, more single coil sort of sound. It's a touch hotter than an Imperial and is more touch sensitive. Like Rayo, it's snappy and percussive and has a bit more top-end cut. It maintains excellent clarity and definition even under heavy driver gain. In split coil mode, it sounds very Strat-like, most similar to our 64 with plenty of cut and pick attack present in what you hear. Our Eldorado has the least contrast in output between humbucking and split coil operation of our humbuckers, helping to make it extremely versatile. Like our Rayo, the DB is a modern-style humbucker. Unlike many humbuckers that use screw pulls and slugs, it features a unique dual-blade design without vintage precedent. It's the hottest humbucker we make, with a fairly flat EQ and incredible, almost hi-fi clarity and articulation. But it's not to be pigeonholed as a high-gain shred and dirge pickup only. The DB's incredible touch sensitivity and clarity make it a powerful pickup in the hands of ambient guitarists who use a lot of time-based and modulation effects, or non-traditional jazz players who rely on dynamic range and clarity to express their musical ideas. The Bird is our PAF-size version of a Firebird pickup, another vintage Gibson design. Its construction varies considerably from other vintage humbuckers, using bar magnets within each coil rather than screws and slugs with a bar magnet below. Firebirds are quite bright and percussive, sounding a lot like a hotter and punchier Tele bridge pickup. They have excellent bite, twang, and clarity, and can be rowdy and brash if you ask them to be. The Lollartron humbucker draws inspiration from the Filtertron pickups in a 1963 Gretsch Country Gentleman that's one of Jason Lollar's favorite personal guitars. Another vintage design, the Tron-style pickup is brighter and a little lower output than a PAF. They have a single coil sort of flavor with plenty of twang, bite, and cut. Unsurprisingly, considering their heritage, they work very well in semi and fully hollow instruments. A great choice for players who find most humbuckers to be too dark or those looking for contrast in mix and match sets. And since we build it in a PAF size enclosure, you can bring Gretsch style sounds to a much wider variety of instruments with this versatile design. Alright, let's hear them all compared in context so you have some reference for how they all sound. We wanted to give a huge shout out and thank you to our friends at Cower Guitars for providing us with one of their incredible Corona model guitars, which we'll be using to do today's demo. For those not in the know, Cower builds some of the finest guitars available today, so check them out if you haven't already. Thanks again, Doug and company. So there you have it, a rundown of our various humbuckers. We hope you found this video informative and entertaining, and that it helped provide some context for the various voicings of our humbuckers. As always, if you have any questions about our pickups or anything else we do or sell, don't hesitate to reach out using the contact information you see in the description below. If you're interested in being kept in the loop when we release new videos like this one, please feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And again, thanks for taking the time to ride along with us and have fun.